for loving me. If it could have been any other way, just need to take this time to say, let my actions speak louder than any word. And when all is said is done, it doesn't matter who lost, doesn't matter who won. All that matters is the soul-to-soul connection. You touch my heart and made me a part of something wonderful, beautiful. And I just want to thank you.
The seat of sacred ancestral eldership has been vacant far too long. We of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribal family tree give thanks, praise, and appreciation for the soulful essence of He who continues to devote his whole life energy to resurrecting the holistic living essence of divine social, economic, family, community, order. So, with no further ado, we bring to you High Priest Kwatamani, sacred ancestral soothsayer, soul seer, spiritual healer, revealer, and chief elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, purely plant fuel consuming, raw and living family community order known over half a century and still going strong. Nitty Gritty 9.6.
It's very difficult for I to speak about these things, seeing the kind of horror and terror that's going on the planet. Not only because of global warming or earth-shifting change that we talk so often about, but because of the mental shifts and change of those who disrespect Mother Earth, humanity, and any and all living things thereof. But if we get into a low and we become depressed and we don't take the necessary actions, the corrective actions, then we're at fault. Therefore, all of the emotional trauma and drama that we feel just by witnessing what is going on the planet should not stop us from focusing on gathering a few of the few, and from doing everything possible to continue to plant, continue to keep a wholesome and clean environment, and to give love and respect to each other on a daily basis. It's tough. Yes, it's tough. If you are a being of love and respect, it is very difficult. Even watching the sons, as they began to ask questions like, with all of this going on, how are we going to find comparable mates for the next generation, or even for our present generation under the circumstances? And these are challenges, these are tasks, these are realities that we must face. Do we take the least resisting option of joining the toxic parallel? I say least resisting because there is no resistance to wandering off in the wilderness until you get there. As a matter of fact, it appears to be, come on, because it's about life energy. And any way and means that one's life energy can serve another being who's greedy for living energy will manifest. What we have to do is recognize that for those who actually have humility and respect for Mother Earth, humanity, and all living things thereof, we must not become stunted. We cannot sit in pity. We cannot wallow. We must continue, just like that heartbeat continues to pump the energies of life through our bodies. In other words, life is for the living in divine order, so we must channel the whole life energy on a daily basis. Because we have to realize something. We have to realize that we are souls living within a body temple, and that soul-to-soul relationship is the essence of life. And just because we are experiencing attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs of semi-soulless and soulless beings does not mean that we should succumb to those opposing natures. No. We need to accelerate our movement. And this is what we're all about. As a matter of fact, this presentation is actually a part of our effort to accelerate our movement, to connect with a few of the few of the few of the few who have the desire to continue a wholesome sojourn, and who wish to connect with those who can be a support in some way or another. We realize that it is not each and every being who can cross those particular barriers and barricades that block us, that divide us from each other as soul-to-soul beings. But we know full well that we have a nature of energy within our soul unseen presence, connecting with those unseen souls who walk with and around us. We have the ability to connect beyond the reasoning of the mind. We just completed a process. This gives us the greater possibility of knowing the shape of things to come. There's a sacred soul that we obviously held so dear. We comprehend the soul-to-soul emergence that occurred. We come to recognize that that soul on that sojourn was about this sacred mission. Now, so many cannot comprehend that. We cannot get stuck in the mindset of those who cannot comprehend it. We are talking about you, the sacred few, who comprehend exactly what we're talking about right now. And we must get beyond all these barricades and get down to the real nitty-gritty. We're talking about comprehending that we are souls on the scene, embodied in flesh, and that we have the ability to channel our energy from the unseen presence into the seen presence, and that's why we're here. It is not each and every one that's here that's going to be able to carry out their sacred mission, but that is not for us to worry about. It is more for us to recognize how diligent we must be to carry out our sacred mission in a soul-to-soul encounter. So as we reach out to those sacred souls who know full well what their sojourn is about, who've come to comprehend but yet feel kind of lost because where is everybody at? We must come to realize that, oh, yes, we're here, live and in living color. But the barricades of the mind prevent us from connecting. All the different attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs that actually are hell-bent on division, separation, conquest, we have to get past them. And that's what we're on right now. So digging deep into our mental consciousness, digging deep into our physical state of being and not being blocked by all the various divisive natures, digging deep into the spirit of the essence of life, the soul. We must make contact. And we must spread the word. And it is not as difficult as it appears to be. In other words, we have to learn to utilize our whole life energy to the fullest. And this is where we're at right now, because we can do this. There's no ands, ifs, and buts about it. We can actually gather as a sacred few of the few of the few and orchestrate divine social, economic, family, community order mechanism that will allow the forward multiplication of a new breed of consciousness. We can actually penetrate into each other in a manner that will allow the souls that are kind of in a swirl trying to figure out how we're going to do this snap into a greater degree of consciousness. Now, so many are so confused, and we have to be able to recognize that we have to start with the key. The reality is, what has been projected is that the masculine is the spiritual element, and the feminine, she's the physical element, because she birthed man, he, and she. What I say is, it should be very clear. If she, the key, birthed man, he, and she, there must be a whole soul connection within her womb. And we had better get busy to give divine guidance and protection to her womb, and all living things born of her, nature of energy within divine order. Otherwise, the nature coming out of that precious womb will be a nature of toxic disorder.
La 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 la, ooh la la. I remember as a young child growing up, I was told that life is so rough. Never knew happiness could be true. Now for the first time I have a better view. This one up for me sisters them, who know I feed the Babylon system. Two natures of energy, no mix them. Get it right one time, we a fix them. Been beat down for far too long, still we have to hold on tight, be strong. I meditate as I sing this song, that we arise up and reject what's wrong. Femininity is the key to uplift a mighty few during this global earth shift. A changing tide come along for the ride. Feel your ancestral pride, we can't do it alone. We can stand together and say no more. Then we can rise higher than ever before. We can no longer breathe that toxic seed. Higher peace, consciousness is all we need.
We always wanted to be advocates for the youth, especially for the feminine, because the feminine is the first teacher. And whatever affects she, affects every offspring in vibration from she.
Femininity, powerful as can be, when nurturing whole life energy. Hey, a collective whole, sisterhood bond with a unified soul. Time for make we get bold, stand up now and let the truth be told. Mother Spirit is the dawn of a new day, to let you know that there is a better way. Dry your eyes, the ancestors them wise, they're answering all of our willing cries. Ooh, we say no more, never again, yes that's for sure. No more. So much endured, but now we are stronger than ever before. Femininity is the key to uplift a mighty few during this global earth shift. A changing tide come along for the ride, we can't do it alone. Babylon coming to an end, my friend. A divine world order will begin again. Greener solar consciousness is a new quest, in search of higher peace and happiness. Lies and deception grown very thin. It's not about the color of one's skin, it's about the consciousness one lives within. This one I feel you, my kin. Black, brown, red, yellow, white, that's right. Children of the sun cease to fight, Unified spirit, conscious insight, rising higher every day and night. Bold soul sister, catch my drift. Femininity is the key to uplift. Straight from the soul, stand up, be bold. We can't do it alone. We can stand together and say no more. Then we can rise higher than ever before. We can no longer breathe that toxic seed. Higher peace, consciousness is all we need. We must feed divine order into each and every son and daughter. Heal thy womb, heal thy womb, heal thy womb.
what I'm saying is, whether it is a fact or whether it has been projected that the male is the spiritual element, the spiritual realm, let's get real. Let's get real. He should indeed take a greater level and degree of responsibility to provide divine guidance and protection for the feminine she. But in order for him to do that, he's going to have to go through a process of learning the principles, morals, and values of divine guidance and protection. In other words, what has really been torn apart from our sacred gathering is to come to the full recognition that we need eldership. And that is a plight that has actually systematically been established to make sure that eldership is not there. But we're souls. And there's a greater level and degree of energy presence. And whether we know it or not, we do have eldership. Yeah, and I have eldership. Yeah, and I have eldership, and I am closely entering my latter years. The elders are seen and unseen, and we have to be able to learn how to listen and take our responsibility once we listen to be able to discern and pass that eldership on to the next generation, to breed, seed, and feed a new consciousness. The eldership guidance and protection that has been given to I is actually the eldership guidance and protection and divine order that the I and I offer a sacred few of the few of the few. Some want to do this or that with it. That's not our concern. Our concern is to make holistic living truth available for the sacred few of the few of the few, because we must manifest divine socioeconomic family community order by every means divinely necessary. And in order to do that, we have to resurrect the key feminine energy, because she not only caretake us in her womb, she's actually the provider of the first classroom. And we have to reach her. As I said in one of our songs, or the Babylon system will beat you in the womb. And we cannot allow that. So, I say clearly to all the masculine he's, we got a task. Our responsibility is to drop all those manners of thinking and reasoning that actually has been transmitted into our existence through the womb of those parents, those mothers who actually did not have that state and place of consciousness, and therefore acted as an agent to those dominating, controlling, and ruling vibrations. And to recognize that our task now is to break the codes of toxic disorder. We must dig deeper and get off of that parallel of monotheism, that parallel of macho man, that parallel of superiority over the feminine, because that's an absolute deception. She's the mother that birthed us. And as such, we have to comprehend that the higher we can raise her, the higher we can raise up. Now, it's not every she that's going to raise. That's why we have to develop divine socioeconomic family community order, a network, a platform where detox, purging, and healing is a priority, a necessary element for entering. And yes, there are systems that has been established. And it goes through a process where every phase and stage of one's movement prior to full entry into divine socioeconomic family community order has to go through a detoxing and purging phase. And there has to be a level and degree of healing. Now, this does not exclude anyone. Remember, it's a divine union of masculine and feminine energy. And without that divine union of masculine and feminine energy coming into a united bond, a bond of oneness, we're going nowhere. So if you can look and see this, you can see the joke that's been played. The joke that has been played on the mass majority of humanity is to actually come to think that one, he, is greater than the other, she, and that one, he, needs him more than she needs her, and vice versa. Because the need for each other is so prominent. As a matter of fact, I can't think of a need more greater than the need for the divine union of masculine and feminine energy. With that divine union of masculine and feminine energy as a key to our existence, that gives us a rites of passage to the mindset of our other half, the she, and our other half, the he, so that we can bond closer with one common mission. The mission and goal and objective cannot be about those particular things that have been perpetuated within a culture that is hell-bent on its own agenda, which oppose our agenda. We have to recognize that our agenda is divine social, economic, family, community order, breeding, seeding, feeding a new consciousness of masculine and feminine energy, a soul-to-soul relationship, fueling off the fruits of the tree of life. Masculine and feminine energy biologically resurrecting higher peace consciousness. Green earth solar reasoning. That's where we must be. And if we can come to that full recognition, then we do indeed recognize that we need each other very badly. Even more so right now when these times of serious crisis is manifesting. We can all see the four pale horsemen syndrome moving fast and quick. Conquest.
When the first 4 of the 7 seals have been broken, 4 riders shall be summoned. Conquest, war, famine, and death. With them these riders shall bring the apocalypse.
Controlling and dominating. And then the Grim Reaper syndrome. But we can comprehend that this reality is not one that we need to put our whole life energy into. Regardless, remember, we are souls in a soul sojourn, and that is beyond the physical presence, and we have entered the physical presence at this particular point in time, whether you know it or not, to assist in the whole life resurrection of divine social, economic, family, community order for humanity, Mother Earth, and all living things thereof. We say that man, he and she is the superior animal, the superior creation. We better come to realize that there's more to that than meets the eye. But at this particular point in time, what's amassed upon the planet is showing just the opposite. So a sacred few of the few have been sent forward back upon this earth to take care of our business. And we have to respect each other. We have to give love and honor to each other. We have to have more patience, more tolerance. We got to forward divine humility in our expressions with each other. These are serious times, and we have to love each other. We're not talking about sexual amassment of a mindset that actually is deviant and promiscuous in thought and reasoning and action. We're talking about loving each other as souls in a soul-to-soul encounter. And within that, knowing what our mission and our task is as he and as she. And then having the patience and the tolerance and the obedience and the humility to submit to the nature of divine order. This is not happening too often. But we're not concerned about what's not happening more often. We're concerned about making sure that we, the few that we are now talking to among that mass that's out there, recognize what we got to do right here and right now. We can do that. Beauty and celebration is upon us. Yes, we must celebrate. We have to celebrate the gift of life. We got to celebrate the glory of the most supreme seen and unseen essence of masculine and feminine energy for giving us this opportunity to exist on the physical scene as soul-to-soul beings with a mission and a task and a duty and an obligation and a responsibility to uphold our sacred ancestry. That's beautiful. It's magnificent. And we have the privilege. It's not going to be like an easy task where one just kind of lay around and say, that's too difficult. No. Because that's not applying energy. We got to amass our creativity. We got to dig deeper in making sure that we plant and harvest and enjoy the fruits of the tree of life and celebrate that glorious manifestation. We do not in any way have the opportunity to look down upon circumstances that people are going through because some of it is so sad it ain't even funny. In fact, the mass majority of it is. But at least a few of the few have to manifest a spark. We have to manifest a spark of living presence, living being, glorifying the manifestation of our existence as soul-to-soul beings upon this earth, humanity. We have to do that. We all can't just lay and wallow in the sadness while that oppositional energy tell all the massive deception, turn things around and actually perpetuate destruction as good. We cannot do that. What we have to do is to look at the holistic living truth about supreme love and the essence of life and manifest it. Not only in talk, in thought, in reasoning, but in action. This is what this particular expression is all about. So what I'm saying is, whether any of us like it or not, whether we're in our comfort zone, whatever it be, the greatest sin that any one of we, the sacred ancestral souls of humanity, can do right now is to sit passive. And yet, we don't need to instigate any opposing nature of energy within this spiritual war. Our element within this spiritual war is higher peace conscious resurrection. It gives us more energy source because there's nothing greater than that most supreme seen and unseen essence of life and supreme love. And we do not have to submit to the oppositional nature that opposes our existence. And when we realize that we're in the jungle and the signal is different and we have to confront all kinds of circumstances and we're not out chasing behind money as a syndrome, it becomes even more of a challenge. Because what we could do is jump around, fly here, go there, do this, do that. But what that will do, as we found out in the earlier days, is it interrupts and interferes with the offsprings. They do not have the precious amount of time that they need during those earlier times of their mental encodes to be able to deal with what is going on upon this planet. And so unless we give them that greater spirit conscious insight, devote our whole life energy to that next generation within a conscious movement of higher peace conscious resurrection, we are actually not taking care of our sense of responsibility. So what I am asking right now is for those sacred daughters, those sacred sons, the youth, do not continue to just sit and march and holler and scream all of the various chants and etc. Unless you feel that's all you can do. What I am saying is there's more you can do. You can actually gather and start some kind of cooperative. You can start to work toward some kind of collective movement of communal order, because we are communal by nature and we need each other. And although many of the others are not going to tell you that unless you are prepared to join them, what the I say is this: it is our desire to reason that there are many other collective units of souls, man, he and she, preparing for the shape of things to come. We cannot actually get stuck on whether it is or is not. Our responsibility is to go forward and multiply divine order, divine socio-economic family community order. So we continue to plant, continue to harvest, continue to look out for you, the sacred few of the few. Not for those who are going to shuck and drive and just try to find a space or a place to trip out. We're talking about those like the sacred souls who have come forward so far, blessed and beautiful as they are, humble and gracious, giving thanks, praise, and appreciation for an environment of higher peace consciousness as a reality, going through the challenges and recognize that good things do not come easy, and divine things require devotion and dedication and humility and obedience and patience and tolerance. And that's where we have to be. So for those who can connect with what it is that I'm saying with the utmost humility, I say, reach out. Reach out somewhere to a few of the few who are in action. Please cease and desist to follow verbal rap and rhetoric that actually leads one to the same dead end. Seek out the few of the few who are actually doing it in action on a daily basis, who are actually committed to that off-grid lifestyle. Seek out those who are ready, willing, and able to give guidance and protection and affectionate, nurturing energies to assist in the process of detox, purging, and healing. Because without that, ain't nothing going on but the rent. And as one said, it wouldn't be going on if the money wasn't spent. So therefore, do not think that a freebie is available. Realize that energy is the most precious gift that man, he and she can have. And life energy is worth a ton of gold. Regardless of the circumstances around, we don't have to lean that direction or that one. Let's find ways to celebrate the principles, morals, and values of higher peace consciousness, divine order. Let's find ways and means to celebrate the glorious gift of masculine and feminine energy, divine union of oneness. Let's find a way to celebrate the forwarding of every offspring and vibration of the generation next. Let's find a way to celebrate our earthly presence. This presentation is coming off of the celebration of one of my daughters. Fortunately for she is in a unified bonded relationship, and the grandchildren are the sparks of life. We are souls on a spiritual sojourn a blessed time upon this planet in the midst of vicious conflict, confusion, and chaos. We must appreciate the sacred and blessed time that we have. Let's gather. Let's find ways and means to resolve every single problem we are able to resolve while we're up on this earthly scene. And let's find ways and means to push a love supreme. Let's find ways and means to ratify the principles, morals, and values of divine social, economic, family, community order. And most importantly, let's find ways and means to give supreme thanks, praise, and appreciation to Mother Earth, the Mother She, and the Mother Naturing of energy that birth both He and She. It's celebration time in divine order. Madasi.